is, what are the USPs, how do they, cope in a very competitive market, and etc. etc. And so I would like to call upon the panelists for this session, for the security startup panel. May I request Mr. Narendra Sahu, Director Vista Infosec, to please come on the stage. Please help them, welcome them with a round of applause. Thank you. Mr. Utsav Mittal, President and Founder, ISC2 Delhi Chapter and Principal Consultant, Zayak. Please welcome them with a round of applause, Utsav Mittal. And Mr. Dhruv Khanna, CEO and Director, Data Resolve. Mr. Dhruv Khanna. Yeah, here it is.
Hello.
So, welcome to the security startup panel.
Thank you.
And I can already see some startup energy here. So, let me just start the discussion with the basic and fundamental question, and we can go around from the left. And basically, what has been your experience in starting out on your own journey in the increasingly competitive and crowded security space? So, Narendra.
Yes, actually, it has been an uphill task because when we started off like 12 years back, we started off with no money and no background and no office, nothing. There was nothing actually. I started from a home and we had one person working.
Wow.
After some time that too. So yes, it was increasingly difficult, but then I just say thank God for that we managed to get some good friends and somebody used to outsource some work to us, just struggling to survive. And the worst part was getting to know the compliances. ये tax file करना है, अरे वो returns करना है, आपने किए नहीं, penalty आ गई, so.
I think that's a common thing with all
Yes,
startups.
yes, it's very bad.
You start up and then you discover
Then
there
you
are other
realize.
things that you need to take
Yes,
care of.
yes, and then the penalties and stuff. So, yes, then getting people, especially in a startup, good people is extremely difficult. Now
Right.
God's grace, it is pretty good. But
So is it the brand thing or
yes, yes, that really matters to people quite a bit actually. So, but we still have people like who joined, like 2 of them who joined like 12 years back and they are still there. So, yeah, so that's.
So
that's
how long has it been in existence?
My company, it's been like 2004.
Okay, okay,
So been there.
great. So you have covered some distance.
We have. Yes, it was pretty bad the first 5 years.
Great. So let me now move to Utsav and ask him what has been his experience in starting out in this space.
Thanks, Sanjay. So, for me, it has been quite a ride actually. So, I would call it like a roller coaster ride. There have been cases in which we had absolutely no work, and there are cases in which we were like too full with work that we were denying or we were not able to service good customers. So, it has been a roller coaster like with every good ride. It's still like a roller coaster. We are struggling with issues that, as he mentioned, and we are going to discuss them, are going forward. So I would say, as compared to all the Flipkarts and Snapdeals, so I have seen these companies growing. Like they pretty much started around the same time when we started, like and now they are $1 billion and we are not even close. So it pains. That's what I would say, because I also like to believe we also do the same amount of work. But it's always the right time. So I'm just waiting for that right time.
Okay, thanks. Great. So let's hear it from our next startup. So how did you start, and what were the kind of challenges that you faced in this space, and what were the thoughts behind it?
First, thanks for the opportunity. I think thanks to the Dynamic CISO initiative of getting startups on the panel. So we started our entry 2 years back. I'll not say 2, it's almost 18 months of journey. and I think I'm thankful
I
to
think initially you count the days and months, and then it becomes years and
Yeah.
decades. as you
Correct,
go on.
correct, correct.
Yeah, please.
So I think 18-month-old journey, and I think the first thing, I think every startup has to go through that phase, but I think I'm thankful to everyone sitting here, thankful to all my clients, thankful to NASSCOM, thankful to DSCI, thankful to the Indian fraternity, who had interested in Indian product, Indian technology, indigenized concept, right? I think, so I've been very fortunate, I should say that, because everybody supported us, right? So I would like to give a round of applause to all of you, right? And who helped an Indian company, because if you look at it, this market is dominated by the best of the world in the market, from Israelis, from Americans, from UK and all. Getting an Indian security startup in a country like India is very difficult, right? Because one, you live with the taboo of you're not in Gartner, right? And where we see a lot of exclusions happens, and it takes time, right? I think there's a great job done by Gartner, and there's a level of stages you need to clear before you go to that level. So yes, that was the first challenge. When we started hitting the government, very good experience. We have seen that on the one hand, the Make in India story, everybody is talking about Make in India, and I think thanks to Mr. Savade from DSCI, who helped us a lot in getting into that. But yes, we've seen an initial challenge of getting into the government space.
So you started when?
We started 2 years
18
back.
months,
Yeah, just 18 months old with our penetration in
And
the market.
how many, like, what is the kind of journey you have had?
So we cross 100 plus customers today,
Okay, wow,
and work with
great.
the who's and who's of the industry.
So I think that calls for a round of applause, 100 customers in 18 months.
Correct, and
So-
across some 20 sectors,
Great.
India internationally. So I think that's what I'm saying. I think there's a people sitting here helped us.
In fact, the next question ties into what you have just said. Given the large R&D spends of security giants, all of us know who they are. The spend of a single company would be bigger than the combined revenue of many such startups put together. So how do you highlight your own unique selling propositions to the prospects in the market? So again, we'll go from Narendra.
Yes, that's a good question actually, because that was, see, primarily speaking, we as a company into services, and when we started, even today there's not much appreciation for services. So at that time it was all the more lesser. And it was basically time is for free. So if you're selling a hardware, software, it is much more easier, but if you're selling a service, it's like, yeah, iske ek din ke kitne paise le raha hai, sort of a thing. So it was extremely difficult, and then of course we had the big boys and the middle boys, and we were the least boys. So, yes, it was difficult, but then what used to happen is we managed to make a good niche in the way that it's not just the services, we made an end-to-end bouquet. That is, we do audits, we do security management, ethical hacking, and all those things, process development, and we have an end-to-end service level with even infrastructure consulting. So all our clients is not just a bunch of papers that we give. So it is also, we help you roll out the processes. So we came up with that phrase, we help you operationalize processes.
Okay.
So that's where we help. So there are many of
So
these.
it's not just a process document you have, how do you put into
Exactly. So we have a separate dedicated technical team also. So that really helped us strike a chord with good clients now. And of course, I have to mention NASSCOM. Of course, they helped him, they helped us also, and there were some very good friends who gave some references somewhere. So it really helped. But then,
So having and building a good network and all that
yes,
is
because
really helpful.
in services, in services especially, because if you're selling a brand or hardware, the brand sells itself. But in services, when you're doing something, it's all relationships that matter.
And then word of mouth.
Yes, that's the only thing, because we don't have the budgets to make those big half-page ads and be knowledge partners in large conferences so your name gets highlighted everywhere. The only thing works is your work itself. So somebody talks, okay, ye achhe kar rahe hain, somebody gets across, and now yesterday it was like a huge honor that we got the Information Security Company of the Year award. That was in itself like a unbelievable thing for us. So I really thank Dynamics CISO for actually getting us for that. I really appreciate. And one thing, if I may go on a tangent, is
please.
that I've attended quite a few conferences, and off late I just stopped attending because it's a simply waste of time. The people are not good, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. But yesterday that's what I was saying to this gentleman over here who missed yesterday, that you really missed yesterday. Because the speakers are very good, there was a very good knowledge
I think
sharing.
it's a
that
relevant
happened.
audience. We try
It
to
was,
get a relevant
yes,
audience.
yes. It really, I was really surprised, honestly speaking, to see the crowd. So great job with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But let's not do some back patting here. So I will move to Utsav and ask him, like, what has been your USPs and how do you see in the light of the large, R&D spend that your competitors have?
See, what I would say our USP that we have pushed with the clients and that has helped us in succeeding is quality. Now somebody might say quality is something, it's a buzzword which everybody uses. So, but we have had cases in which the customers, they were working with with many companies, like there are a lot of companies in InfoSec arena. But they were not entirely sure what exactly is InfoSec, what exactly is the value they are getting. Like the CXO, the team, the management team, they were still not sure that they are still protected. So we go to the level of actually hitting the customer's bottom line. Like we try to, so if it's a VAPT engagement.
So you have a dialogue with the CXOs, is that?
No.
So how do you
Basically, once we do a POC, so once we do an audit, so it's not a paper, it's not a set of papers. So we show value in the basis that okay, that this thing can have an effect on your bottom line in this way. So it might be a DDoS attack, it might be so if you are doing for a banking company, so we don't come out in the open, but like there have been cases we were working for a bank and we were able to increase the bank account's balance.
So this would happen after you have established contact and have some inroads in the company and then
Exactly. And being a CERT impaneled company has helped us. We are impaneled with Government of Maharashtra, Government of India as such in CERT, and that has helped us a lot because that gives us that kind of certification that okay, you are ready to certify.
And was it difficult to get it impaneled or?
Yeah, it was difficult. They have a complete process. It took us more than I would say 3 years to get the whole process done.
Okay.
Yep. So I would say we focus. So we have a 99% client retention rate. That's how, and we still don't have a sales team. I would like to mention that probably as Narendra also mentioned, your work speaks for you. So we have all the business that we have is from word of mouth.
So how many clients do you have?
We have over 100 clients.
Okay, great.
Yeah. And we got impaneled just a couple of years back. So before we were not focusing on government clients, but once we got impaneled, now we have a lot of and we have big brands on board. Many PSUs and as well as banking clients and companies they are there.
Okay, great.
So that's how it sells.
Let me move to Dhruv and ask him like his company's USPs and how they actually go out in the market and project themselves.
Okay, so I think to start your point from the R&D, I think that was the first point you did mention about it. And I see this as a huge challenge because when you compete with the biggest or the best of the, I would say, companies in the market, R&D has always been questioned by a lot of customers, and it's a valid point. We also realize that, right? So the way we operate, and I would call this as a USP, we work more in a co-creation model, right? And I think that's been our success story so far. So one, you build a product, right? And you take it to the customer, and customer is not going to use it the fullest because a lot of features, modules, I would say the concept we have seen the global vendors have built might not apply to the local market, right? And there we see a lot of customer faces a challenge, right? So we say let's build a base first, and let's not create something on top of it. Let's go to the customer, understand their pain points, understand their challenges, and then do co-create, right? And that's what we have seen with that flexibility, with that nimbleness. I've seen there is a good amount of encouragement, good amount of appreciation has come from the client side of the world, right? And I think that's been one of the biggest USPs which have been given us continuous success when we engage a new customer.
So do you have, from what I can interpret or say is that you build your own story and complement the existing solutions rather than directly pitching yourself against.
Absolutely. So there is a base we build. We know this is the client, this is the pain point. So this is where we fit in, right? So there is a base entry into the customer environment.
And which particular segment of InfoSec do you?
So we largely on the insider threats, more around employees. That's the area we play.
Okay.
Yeah. So more on insider, not external part of the world.
And how about you, Utsav? Yours is focused on which sub-segment or which?
So basically, we are primarily a services, company. So we have had successes with forensics, incident response, normal vulnerability assessment, pen testing. So because the expertise is varied, so it's not just So we are focused on quality InfoSec services. We don't sell.
Do you use your own tools, or you have like open tools or some other tools that you use for this?
So we have, I would say, a hybrid model. We use like the tool which was mentioned before, we use that as well. Nexpose. And we use other tools which are like our custom developed scripts that have been developed by our consultants. And I'm also myself a fairly technical person. So I have certain Python scripts or something that we use. So it's a hybrid model that we use. There have been cases where, I like to say it like a fool with a tool is still a fool. So that's what my professor used to say. So we don't believe in tools. So there have been cases like one of the forensic cases in which all the big, NKS, FTK, all these failed. And ultimately, we had to write our own script to get the work done.
Very interesting. So how about you? You have some product or something?
Yeah, so we are a product company.
So what is it? Can you just talk
So
about
basically, it largely looks at the employee part of it more from the behavior standpoint. So we largely help organizations to manage and mitigate risk around information leakage, right? IP protection, fraud management, forensics, the productivity part of the angle, right? Looks at the application space also in terms of the utilization of applications across various business groups, right? And so that's a client which goes across in a visible or in a stealth mode, right? And gets monitored it from an on-premise or a cloud model. So that's what we do.
But I think we have also heard something on behavioral analysis and all. I think because of social engineering and other attacks, it's gaining more prominence.
Absolutely. See, typically if you look at it in any large engagement on the services side of it, where we have seen a lot of clients engage, a lot of good companies in terms of doing in audits, which cover the technical aspect, process aspect. The people aspect is more around disseminating knowledge or information, trainings, right? They do a lot of social engineering activity, but it's difficult to test the employee. So I train an employee in my organization, hey, if something strikes, that's the way you should behave. But something strikes, whether she is going to behave in that manner or not, that's very difficult.
It must be very tough.
Correct.
And to be accurate about behavior.
Correct. So that's where we play an important role of doing the people aspect of assessment also, using our product.
And then you have to probably balance it in the sense that you're not creating an environment which is very
hostile
constricting for the employees
absolutely.
or something like that.
It has to be balanced.
Right. So let me come to the next question, which is about sharing your experiences and any particular challenges or instances that you think stand out. You may choose to name the companies or instances or keep it hidden.
This
Just
is with
share
relevance to?
Sorry?
Instances with relevance to?
Anything in your journey so far, like what have been the challenges, one or two instances or challenges which you would like to share, from which others can also possibly
Okay, that's
learn?
a good question actually. Glad you asked. Now the services that we provide, that is we do process development, we are very good into regulatory compliance, we do this HIPAA, PCI DSS and stuff.
Okay.
We do this data leakage also, but we don't sell any products. We have compliance level on that, software license stuff. Now what happens is there are other companies also doing the same thing. So one of the, because we don't have heavy budgets, like as you said earlier, because they have multi-crore budgets, we don't have that. So how do you set yourself as a differentiator? And that's where one of the key challenges for our company was that. So that's where we came up first of all with the strategy that is provide them end-to-end services. That is not just a bunch of papers, now you decide what to do with it. Matter of fact, if I cannot really quote names because these are confidential.
Just the experience
yes,
itself.
some of the largest companies, what happens is they are now serviced by the big four. So they get their audit reports, you'll find this funny actually. They are serviced by the big four and they call us to help implement, to help understand first of all what these damn reports have written, because even the people who wrote the reports don't have any idea what has been written. And then they call us, they hire us actually to interpret those reports and help them roll it out. Now that's actually funny. So they say that these MBA guys come with half beards and they are telling us what to do after learning from us. I'm sure that many of the guys sitting over here would agree to what I'm saying. So, and they call us to do that. The second thing was the differentiator factor. So we set up our own software development cell. Now we have our own GRC portal, that is governance, risk and compliance. We have our own MSS portal, managed security with vulnerability management. And the unbelievable thing which is that we give it for free. We don't charge our clients for it because we want them to make the best use of the services that we provide.
So the companies can get much better value for their money.
Exactly.
And and be able to quickly understand and put it into practice.
And even track it, because that's the whole thing. When you're doing say 27,001, you end up with say 100 odd documents. What are you going to do with it? Who's keeping track of the risk register? What are your top 10 risk items? Who is supposed to be doing what? Where is it reached now? What is the status of the audits? Like you did 10 audits.
Right.
Has those
And I
findings
think it
been
will
closed?
also possibly have some, consequence in terms of large companies serving other large companies. They have
Yes.
similar processes and similar language.
Yes.
So they will probably require 100,000 or 100 page document or whatever.
Yes,
It
yes.
could also be something like that.
Yes. Now all these things moves online. So a CISO traveling to the office in his car can literally see the entire status, see the policy status, rollout status, even see what is the policy online from his mobile phone. That's amazing.
But there's no
Yes.
there's no reason why the status quo or this state of affair will continue to happen. Even the large companies, now with growing digitalization and things
Yes.
like that, they will need to be more agile and nimble.
Yes, yes. That's the direction in which we moved, and other companies charge a lot of money.
Any other thing example?
Wondering how to share it
No problem.
without
So let me move to
taking names.
Utsav now. So any incident or example that you want to share with the audience here in terms of your challenge and how you kind of overcome that.
So for a company like us, there are multiple challenges. So I would like to, let's say for example, a challenging project. So we have a case in which we protected one of our customers from attack from one of the hacking groups. Anonymous, all of you might be aware. So that customer is a big name. I cannot quote it. So, but we were actually able, we monitored the whole, underground, and we protected the website from going down.
Okay.
And it was a crucial time. So that is one case, and we were successful. And second case, one of the other challenging project that was just recent, all of you are aware of it. I can quote that name as well. It's International Fleet Review that happened with Visakhapatnam. So we were the cybersecurity agency who were helping the event in going smooth from a cybersecurity perspective.
Okay.
So just to give you a small insight into that, there were around over 70 foreign ships that were parked near docked, basically that's the right word, on the Vizag coast. And we silently worked in the background, and we made sure that, nothing happens. And
So
Modi
that
ji was also there.
That was quite a task,
That was quite a task, so I was having sleepless nights, and yeah, that's sure.
Did you have to kind of get people or help from outside or work with other, or you were able to handle it yourself
No, me
as a
and
startup?
we were able to handle it. See, as I told you, it's about the expertise that you have and that you command, and we were able to, do it.
And how long was this? Like, how
So
much time did you spend in ensuring that?
So we spent sleepless nights. So it was maybe say a quarter we spent, 3 months or something we
Okay,
spent.
okay.
So because the cybersecurity comes into place when all the IT systems are there, and IT systems formed an integral part of IFR this time. If anyone from defense is here, they will understand that.
Okay.
So that is so we have many projects like that, from a implementation perspective. From the other perspective, like us as a startup, one of the major challenges that we faced and we still face is people. So people come, we get them up to a level, and
I think that's
they
a
go.
common refrain.
That's a
with all
common
startups.
problem, and it's all the more bigger problem for companies like us, because we are a bouquet company. We are a bouquet niche company which works in a very specialized area, and we do something which I think maybe a handful of people in the country might be doing.
And the harder
that-
you train them and the
the
quicker they leave, the bigger the impact.
That's
right?
the problem. So that's the case.
Right, right. So, Dhruv, would you like to share some of your experiences?
So interesting, very interesting question in fact. So yes, last I would say 2 years we had we have seen couple of challenges. So one, I think what he rightly pointed out, skill is a big issue. So on the one hand you onboard a right skill, right, and suddenly you realize your peers who are MNCs, right, they straight away pick up the guy, right, and so that's one problem, how to retain, right, and so if we look at it, startup, one of the problem we all faces is the cash flows, right, the ground reality doesn't change, right. So we plan a cash flow, this is the kind of expense I'm going to incur from the growth, retention of an employee. Suddenly 2 employees come and say, hey, I got an offer letter, 3x of salaries. I said, sorry, I can't retain you. I want to retain a candidate, but I cannot, right?
I know.
So that's the one challenge we typically see because you're in a niche space because there are hardly few cybersecurity product companies.
So apart
which you
from
find.
skills, anything?
So one is skills part of it. The second is definitely an investment part of it. If you understand security, if you look at it from the global standpoint, right, it needs a lot of investment. from the research and development. So co-creation is one angle, but if you have to continuously keep on updating your concepts, right, you need huge money from the growth standpoint. And when we go to these venture capital companies, right, they look at inorganic growth. Can you give me 6x returns in 6 months? Next to impossible, right? Because that's how the peers in the B2C space happens, right? So I think, and at the same time, they don't understand cybersecurity space as an investment or a venture capital firm, right? So getting a fund in India.
That's why they think, let's put it all on e-commerce,
E-commerce,
right?
right? The third challenge, they measure you purely or account you purely on revenues. You need to understand that revenues cannot happen over 2 years, 1 year, 1.5 year period, the quantum of money. Unlike global markets where your company valuation is based on technology. Revenue comes later, the technology comes first. Here it is a reverse. To liquid revenue, they don't care about technology.
But did you try reaching out to the Silicon Valley entrepreneurs?
See, I think it's a chicken and egg story, right? So if you want to go to Silicon Valley, you have to establish. And I've seen a lot of good players from the Indian cybersecurity product ecosystem went there, but they went there after Series B, Series C, right?
Okay,
And there are very good names who have done. So I think that it's a chicken and egg, right? So you need fund to go US, set up your base, and then go to Series B, Series C. But when you talk about Series A, right, the question comes is technology. I don't care. Show me the revenues.
Okay.
So I think that's one of the, I would say, the critical challenges we face on our own basis. Yeah.
So a very interesting perspectives and thoughts. Let me ask you, since you have chosen information security as the field to start in, and it's not only becoming bigger and important but more competitive, still do you think are there any major issues which remain unresolved or areas where more attention needs to be paid by vendors, irrespective of, so are there certain concern areas or areas where you think more investment either from startups or from vendors should go, or which remain, anyone can?
See, actually, I was just remarking to a friend of mine yesterday when they were discussing the Internet of Things. And I do agree, let me say upfront, that yes, it's a serious threat. But the point that happens is the operational threats and the sheer, non-acceptance of the threats by the Indian industry. As the Captain Nikunj, mentioned so well yesterday, that the laws are not there in place. So, literally speaking, at this time there are many banks, large banks, with their ATMs running on Windows 98 and Windows XP. Can you believe that? And if you tell them this is a serious security risk, they'll say, "Usne kiya kya? Nahin, na, so why should I do it?" That's a serious issue. So, for them, IoT becomes like, you must be joking. When my whole doors are open and you're telling me some small hole is possible somewhere, you must be joking. So, the maturity as far as the industry, yes, of course, over the past decade, it has changed drastically. But
Then
still,
the first level of change has happened.
yes,
Now,
yes,
maybe the
yes.
next-
But now, actually, I'm glad that the CISOs are here, and there is actually a post called as a CISO nowadays.
Sorry?
So there is actually a post called a CISO. So I'm happy to see that. That's happened in the past 10 years. And there
And
are
it's
people who
only
are
going to
proficient.
grow.
Yes. But there is yesterday the very good point came up is the rights and the responsibilities that are given to the CISOs. Because in many cases, we are able to highlight the issues to the CISO, but the management is simply in their own world. So the findings are there. There are serious threats, but the industry, the banks, the manufacturing, pharmacy, you name them. They also need to just tap
So
them.
do you
Yes.
think they will wake up only when they are attacked, or there's something like that?
Even
happen?
then it doesn't happen. That's the shocking part.
Why is that? Do you think?
Chalta hai sort of a thing, because see the regulatory angle, that's what I say very clearly, the regulatory angle
It's
is
also tied into
missing.
the impact, financial impact, unless it's something
Yeah.
so big that it takes them out.
Yes. And then the serious, the senior management support is missing in most of the companies that you have seen. So the lower, the mid-level guys knows, the CISO knows, but the management, the board, sometimes the CISO reports to the CFO. The CFO is not willing to invest. The CISO, we've had organizations where entire departments, I'm not saying one, two machines, but the data has been wiped out by ransomware. And still they are at the same level.
Okay.
And they,
So again, the
backup se restore
chalta
karo,
hai,
backup se
basically.
restore karo, kaam chalao, sort of a thing. But there are dynamic CISOs and they are getting aggressive. So yes, there is hope for the future, but I believe, in my opinion, that until the regulatory framework changes, like how it is there in the US, that if there is a break-in, you are either shut down or you go to jail. Here the only
So
time
more
we see,
stringent,
that is the scene, because now the only thing we see a cyber case happening is somebody uploaded nude pics of his girlfriend on the net. That's the only cyber crime thing
Right,
that is
right.
happening. Does that mean that there is no cyber
So I think
crime
there's a lot of
happening?
ransomware happening from what I also
Yes,
hear.
yes.
People just keep it under the carpet.
Exactly, exactly. Entire departments wiped out. I cannot name, of course.
Right, right.
But the lethargy, there is no reporting structure like how is there in the US. You have to report. The SEC guidelines are there. Here there is nothing. So until I believe even the regulatory angle changes and we have a more enforceable structure in place, written by people, the laws written by people who actually know what technology is.
Right, right. So any other
Yeah.
areas where you think there are
Yeah,
gaps or?
I would like to mention a few points. So as Narendra has given a very good viewpoint about the so-called ignorant customers. So there are two kinds of customers: ignorant customers, and there's another thing like we call it proactive customers. So I would like to give a viewpoint from a proactive customer. Like there are many companies who are proactive, and many of them are here as well. So right now the current the problem that many of these customers are facing is proactive threat intelligence. So I'm quoting the vendor words: proactive, actionable threat intelligence.
Right.
So there is a saying, now I would like to build upon it. So there is a saying famous in the underground world, or in the, so I have been a part
Of
as
the
in,
underworld?
not the underworld, I have been a part of the community. So I still run a community of over 1,000 people, like all big people, all good experienced people. So the saying goes like this: there are two kinds of companies in India, and I'm damn serious about it. There are two kinds of companies in India: one who have been hacked and they know it; two who have been hacked and they don't know it. So either all of us we fall in one of these. So right now the technology, the attacks are so advanced that you can't help it. If you have anything to protect it. So many companies are there, banks and FMCGs, insurance, telecom. All these guys, they need nowadays. They have a lot of, so they have all the solutions set up. They have SIEMs, UTMs, and
I think yesterday also
firewalls,
we spoke
antivirus.
about now the needle needs to move from protection to monitoring and response.
Yeah, and I'm talking about actionable response.
Right,
You need to do so. For example, one of the customers, he got an intelligence कि आपके 4 employees के mobiles are hacked. That is the kind of intelligence that is needed. So one of the big Fortune 500 customers, so this is the kind of intelligence you guys need to protect. क्योंकि mobile से अगर employees के hacked हैं, the information is leaking out, and it's quite easy to get the Androids if it's not updated, or maybe to just get a remote shell on that. It's very easy nowadays, and most of the people use Androids. So actionable threat intelligence is the problem that we are facing. Log analysis. So people call it log analysis, but log analysis, you get a report and nobody cares. Nobody even reads it. You need to tell the customer this is what you need to do.
So they need to be constantly alerted, or what is the mechanism
See,
to?
So if you bombard someone with lot of alerts,
Right.
he's gonna, we all are human beings.
So-
we need to give him, okay, this week you need to do this. Format that PC or call
So
that.
do you
invoice.
need alerts for alerts? Is that what you should?
I'm talking about something which is, you asked about the problem, right?
Right.
This is the big problem. If we can solve it, then like many of
But there's a lot of scope and
there's a lot of scope in that.
right?
And there are certain companies which I know they are doing it, but many, there are some of them are very unaffordable, but that's the problem. So this is what we need to
I
solve.
think very, very valid and
If
important.
I
point,
may
yeah.
just interject, just to build on the point that is said, so true. The SIM and stuff are there, but what I believe is needed, that's what we advise to our clients, where we even do POCs for SIM. We don't sell SIM, but we advise them, and the number one thing we tell them is, have an incident management system in place. You are getting, the SIM is giving you very structured output and telling you, okay, the hack is in progress, this got hacked. What's your incident management process? Who's going to do what? How
what
it's
are the
going to be
next
reported?
steps?
How are you going to report it?
How
How
it's
you're
going
going to
to be
remediate?
escalated
Yes.
or-
Exactly, exactly. So just having a tool in place is not the thing. You will get 50 alerts, on alerts, but then what? Who's monitoring the SIM? You're spending, hundreds of thousands of dollars on SIMs, very expensive stuff. But still, what is your mechanism to take care of the alerts?
We also do a lot of other, forums like these, and a constant,
Yes.
challenge for enterprises that there are not enough skill sets. You know, one CISO or one person cannot do everything. So how do you,
This is, there is no remedy to that.
Right,
Either you outsource, that's what we take up many contracts for many banks and even payment processing gateways where they outsource the entire compliance division to us. So the entire compliance is my responsibility. So not having people, either you get it or you outsource it.
That these are the only two ways
But
about
people, unfortunately, large companies, they still feel security is a luxury. That's the unfortunate system that we have seen. There are proactive customers, and I agree with him on that. And these are like hats off to them. And they are they are, they take care of it, and they have high level of ethics, and they fight it out with the board and make things happen. Yes, we have seen that. But there needs to be even support from the board. You just cannot have two people. We have had payment gateways where 2-3 people are running the entire show. Can you believe that?
Very
Yes, because you
surprising,
have
yeah.
all the hardware. But then how are you going to manage the alerts? What is the incident management process? That's the number one thing that companies really need to consider. Just having a firewall and a WAF is not the solution.
So any thoughts that you
Okay, slightly on a different tangent. One of the things which I felt important for this is, and I look at models in Israel, look at models in these Western countries, right? From the security standpoint, product company standpoint, right? I think there's a lot amount of support from the local market, local government, and they give first preference to the local companies, right? And you would be surprised that no Israeli companies or global companies have been funded on the day one. They don't call it Series A, Series B. We call it Series A, Series B. And if you look at it, why we call it Series A, Series B? Because the local support to the Indian companies are missing from the local market, right? Though our Prime Minister in I think last 2 forums, the Digital India and Startup India, he very clearly articulated about the need of building a cyber security. We need Indian companies, right? And I think there's a lot of push happened by building a cyber security task force under Mr. Rajendra Pawar, building the CSTF initiative. The DSCI one has been doing a great amount of job. You guys have been contributing to this, right? I think if that happens, I don't think so we should even think about going outside. We should even not think getting acquired by somebody. We never need to raise the money Series B, Series C outside, right? And all these companies who raise, Indian product companies
That's
raise.
also one question I wanted to ask, even though I haven't put it in the brief, that in terms of, startups journey, like basically what's your, future plan, and you just mentioned they don't want to be acquired.
Correct.
But a lot of companies, to my knowledge, get started to be acquired, right?
Yeah.
So I see some sort of...
Correct. So typically when we, so there are a lot of VC companies that interact with us and they ask me what is your roadmap. I said the first, from the exit standpoint, I don't want to be acquired. Otherwise, it's been a better I was working with an MNC. Why I left an MNC job and started one. The two, I don't trust global market, if you ask me, but where a lot of my peers would disagree to this. There's enough in this country. Give it back to the country. I think that's what the point is. If you give it back to the country, we create employment for you guys, right? We are going to create this country at a bigger scale. Why we are not visible? Why the small country like Israel is dominating the cyber security? Because all of you sitting there as your peers help them. Help us, we will give it back to you.
Very, very nice thoughts.
So,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, with the future plans, that's interesting actually. As a company, we have a very, from day one, even though there was no money, nothing, we had a very, I had a very clear thought that is, no venture capitalist. Even today, even yesterday after getting that award, I thank you guys for that. There are 2 companies who approached and said, we would like to invest. How much?
Wow.
Seriously, man. So no, but one was a very good friend and I said, no way, man.
It's always a good position to be able to refuse money, I'm
Correct.
sure.
Yeah,
Very
no,
true.
we've been doing that actually. And there have been instances where, okay, if this is a profitability, we can give you so many crores. What do you think? And we'll back off. We won't even get into you work the way you want to work. We won't, get in your way. Just take the money and let us know what can be done next. But as a company, no. As a company, the plans has been like, okay, we are expanding locally, and we are looking at we have our own office in the US now.
Okay.
So expanding in the US too, again, we got quite a bit of help from NASSCOM, of course, but there was, again, taxation is a huge issue because we are still not been able to figure out our tax returns. Because there are
These
there is
things
some
kind of
ambiguity.
keep you from scaling up and all that.
It's a huge pain. It's a huge pain because even the CAs are not very clear. Okay, some money is there, some money is here. You've done this or that. What is going to be the way around it? So yeah, the Indian taxation scenario is really very bad, really very bad. So, but still, it's not going to stop us. It's the
You
the
have to take it
the
along
grit
and-
of Indians is well known across the world. I'm sure everybody would agree. We work in spite of the system. So yes, so we will expand, we will grow in India because our finest clients are in India, and of course we need to provide services outside of India too, and that's where we are looking at.
Thank you. Any thoughts from you, Utsav?
So
On
I
the
am,
future course of your company?
yeah, I'm of the same opinion. I used to be of the same opinion, no VCs, and we have actually also refused funding. But you know what I maybe realized that
By the way,
probably-
we didn't design it to be like 3 companies were not funded by VCs. It would have been good to have some contrary opinion.
Because you know it's not about the money. It's about the person should understand the business. He should understand the requirement. And as you know, Dhruv also mentioned, not many people understand cybersecurity. And as I was said that we are waiting for the right time. So maybe that's what I have to say.
Okay, so I think let's throw it open.
One
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
you know, just one of the since you mentioned that, I just remembered. Actually, this is again a bit funny. When I started my company, before that, when I was working for a few companies, I had made some points in my head that when I have my company, I will not work like this. So I have made my list of do's and don'ts.
I'm sure most entrepreneurs have their own stamp on the company.
So
that
yeah,
they-
so that is the thing that I don't want anybody to interfere in. We have a very informal way of working. We give a huge amount of independence. So if I get a VC and if I get somebody in, he's put in money, he'll have a right to say. That is something that is not acceptable.
Right.
Growth
very,
is not
very,
that important.
Very valid, yeah.
Growth is
So
not that
ultimately it's
important.
not a-
Yes.
they
it's
might
not the money.
say,
It's not the money. I can take up a better job, but no.
And going by all the examples that you see, the stories that you read,
Yes.
you know that sooner or later, you know, the pressure is going to be there, or
Yes,
some
absolutely,
interference is going to
absolutely.
be there.
Why this? Why not that? Why you working? No, don't tell me what to do.
Nice, interesting. So any questions from the audience to this panel, which is different from what we normally do in terms of, you know, what they have shared, and any thoughts on the startups ecosystem in security? Anyone? Yeah. there's a- Can we have some mics?
Yeah, Narendra, my name is Rangan. I'm from Quattro. You said that you know, when you were working with some companies, you had a list of, you know, it helped you to create a mental list of do's and don'ts. So what were the top 2 do's and what are the top 2 don'ts?
Okay. Okay. You know, the number one thing that I hate is bureaucracy in a company, and I actually despise it. So it is something like, okay, you know, that you're working till say 5:30. So if you're going beyond 5:30 till 8 o'clock, then you're supposed to be a good worker in the company. So that
And
is a culture
especially if
that
the boss is there, then you should also stick around.
Exactly. Yeah, those are the things, you know, there is a level of independence that I like to give to my team. Okay, you make the decisions. I don't like to micromanage. And I when I was working, I used to hate people telling me what to do. You give me a task, I will finish it. Don't keep on asking, Uska kya hua? Have you finished this thing? Did you call him? No. So that's the way we work. And that's, even though we are a small company, we've had people staying in the company, because end of the day, you know, I believe in one saying, you know, money grows old. I'm sure that many of you understand what I mean. Money grows old. Okay, so we are not the best payers. We will pay a reasonable amount. But, you know, I like to keep my team happy. So I cannot really get into the details because I don't want my previous employers to think bad about me from that way. But so okay, there should be some free time for them. Get them some entertainment in office, stuff like that. Understand their problems. Have a personal relationship with people.
Actually, it's very...
It's not just
yeah.
work.
And I would say it's very commendable from a startup where one would otherwise think, you know, you have to slog even harder, or maybe, you know, sacrifice the work-life balance. So you were starting it from the, you know, scratch and thinking of that. So I think
No, I
that is
just
something.
my base ethics is very clear actually. I'm not pursuing a very high, you know, top line, 30%.
But just to
growth
have
and
these
40%.
thoughts is important,
Yes.
because
For
not
me,
everyone
keep
appreciates
the people
that.
happy. End of the day, see, you know, in some years' time, it's all over. I don't know what's going to happen next. But I still
Right.
have people like who left a company like 8 years back, 10 years back, and they're still very good friends. They're still, sir, how are you doing? They even recommend me, you know, okay, sir, that company, there is some requirement. Why don't you go? You're working in that company. Why don't you tell somebody? No, I know you, and you are a good man. So why don't you come and work away? I know your team. So they have left our company, worked somewhere else, and they bring us in because the employee simply left for, you know, maybe because we are not very good paymasters.
right.
So for various personal reasons. But then when they go, they drag us in. they not drag us in, they get us into that company.
Right, right. So any other questions? Yeah, there's one gentleman at the back.
Guys, thanks. Very interesting session. Good, the last session, very light. I think most of us want to hear from you guys. And Dhruv, I don't know if you recognize me. I was trying to be hired by you some time back. I'm just kidding. So I work for iGate. iGate is part of Capgemini now. That's the background. My question is, and we keep seeing a lot of interviews around different sectors where entrepreneurs who are successful, who are trying to be successful, come and talk about how difficult or easy it is, right? You've touched a lot of topics. I still have one or two that I want to ask, right? And a very blunt question, I'm sorry. Do you guys have a business model? Right, that's one question. Do you have a business model which says that how I'm going to continue to acquire customers in a long-term perspective, right? There's an interesting equation called cost of acquisition of customer should be lesser than lifetime value that a customer gives. And this is where a lot of startups are failing because they ignore this part, right? Maybe you're getting customers because there's uproar. There's more spending in the cybersecurity, so you're not really realizing. But typically, to get a customer, the amount of sales, marketing, engagement effort is usually higher than what a customer gives you 1 or 2 engagement, you move on to another customer, right? So my very curious question, and this could be a trade secret as well, is that how do you basically work around that business model where most of the entrepreneurs in most of the startups today are failing across the non-cybersecurity domain, if I have to say?
So good, thanks for that very good question, right? See, typically what we have seen that, and I think that's been one of our, I would say the USPs, right? Today, when we engage a customer, right, I think we don't look at the cost we spend to acquire, the cost we spend to sustain it, right? Because what we feel is that the top 50, the top 100, the first 100 customers is going to be a breaker or dire for you, right? And I think the cost is one element to it, right? I think, but it's important the customer has to be happy. Whatever we committed, whatever we communicated has to deliver irrespective. And one of the things we have done very clearly, we all agree to that. Whenever you engage a vendor, we sign a lot of scope of works document. We clearly define what is written, right? Yeah. And trust me, 90% situation I've seen, customer goes out of that. Security, you cannot define the boundaries. And we all sitting here, we appreciate because that's the market, that's the dynamic of the game, right? So when we get into this, I say that this is a scope of work. It's because your organization wants, my organization wants, when we both running a company, right? But when something goes wrong, don't look at the scope of, we come and deliver it to you, even out of the box, right? And I think that's been one of our reasons. And a lot of people who are sitting here are few of my customers, right? And they are my sales guys, sorry to use this word. They pick up the phone, Dhruv, these are 2 CIOs, you should go and talk to them. Because we were happy with you because you have gone out of the way to help us out when we were in a trouble. Don't look at it. I think you should. And I think that's how we have seen the market is changing. And that's one of the mistakes which a lot of Indian startups they first say, if this is the cost, I should make profit in the first deal. I should make 2x in the third deal. Reason, they've been invested. The investor wants a return on every deal, every transaction they sign. And I think that's where the business model goes for a toss. So I think you have to seed, you have to root it right. And I think the tree will flourish by default. If you do it right, it will give you fruits. If not now, after 5 years. So it's a point of, should I wait for 5 years? Or should I do it right now? So I think that's how we do it. And that's
actually, if I may say, there is a balance in that. That's a very nice thing Dhruv said. But that was a very interesting question because that is an almost everyday discussion that we have with the marketing team that we have. Should we pursue this customer more or not? It's simply becoming a waste of time. Yeah. But sometimes, yes, that is extremely important. And I really hope that companies understand, because I understood this late, almost because I don't have a business background. I'm a college dropout. So with no money, you can imagine.
College dropouts make for the best entrepreneurs, I think.
So anyway, so after it took us quite some time because we wasted quite some time. That there will be companies who will be leeching onto us and very small deal and they are expecting a big bouquet of services. But at some level we still do it because of the reference that is possible. So what can we get out of mileage? So it's not just the money part. That's a very interesting point that Dhruv touched on because we know what sort of references that name will make on my profile. So I'll just take it up for the namesake and close it out. But then there are so many inbound leads that we have. But that's a very interesting point and we have this discussion every day with our team. Isko pursue karna hai, drop karna hai, ya to make one visit, see what is happening, keep it on the shelf, contact after 3 months. Yeah. Don't waste time.
Absolutely.
So
yeah,
maybe I would like to give a couple of comments on it. So we have been cash positive since the day we started, and it has been approximately 5 years approximately since I came back to India. And I would say the business model that we follow, so we don't have I'm also an engineer, and I understand what you are trying to stress upon here, business model. And so I have tried to self-educate, having those business books and audio books. So, but still, if I want to define my business model is customer service and value, and that's what helps you out. So we have got so as Dhruv mentioned, for startups and for startups in security arena, which is actually a niche segment, the only thing that can drive sales is customer references and word of mouth.
So as long as you have paying customers and as long as you are giving them value, you have a business model.
Exactly.
Right?
So we have gone from, like if I talk about customers, from X amount to 25X amount, in a span of 1 year. So we have those successes.
Okay, thank you. Very
Any
interesting.
other questions? Okay, so we'll close the panel now. Thank you very much, and I think you guys are going to be around for some time.
Yep.
I have a couple of announcements to make.